I don't know what happened to 28 months later, but we're definitely going to be talking about 28 years later. So we got that to talk about, and I can't wait. So let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of 28 Years Later. That's right, the movie that's out in theaters now that you can check out for yourself. Been a long time since we've seen the franchise come back. We've heard so many different things that were going to happen with the franchise, including one that was going to be in France, and then one that was going to be in Japan, and they were going to even license it out to other people. But we got Danny Boyle and Alex Garland back in the saddle together after falling out over their movie Sunshine, with the ending not being up to par for one of them. They basically fell out and haven't talked since, and then got together for this movie, which is just fantastic. It's always great to see two great artists come together to make some great cinema for us to watch. Now, this movie is a very different movie than I think a lot of the other movies in the franchise, the other two. 28 Days Later is one of my favorite films. It's a very unique, different spin on non-zombies. It is one of those things that people get very upset about. They aren't zombies. I get it. We get it. But it is definitely influenced and inspired very much by zombies. In fact, I would say 28 Days Later is very much, in some ways, kind of borrowing some of the hits from Dawn of the Dead in a lot of ways. You know, whether it be the big fast opening or the levity that you get when they're going shopping, which was pretty interesting. There's a couple of different things, and it even has a little touch of George Romero's Day of the Dead in there as well, with the military by the end of that movie. I personally think that is the best film because it is a little rough around the edges. It's shot very artistically, and it just feels raw. It feels raw and in your face, and it was nothing we had seen before it, because we had just seen everything coming at you, and there was just no way getting away from these rage virus filled non-zombies, right? Well, the sequel came out with a whole new cast and a whole new group of people, although it did kind of expand on the lore a little bit and do some different things that I wasn't exactly 100% fond of. Does have moments in it that I do like, and there are, the beginning was actually pretty good, but it also felt a little, in my opinion, like George Romero's Land of the Dead, which is a very fiddlery green, which is not one of the more popular George Romero zombie films. There's worse. But, that's definitely what I felt like it kind of leaned towards. And now we are presented with this 28 years later, which they skipped over the 28 months. Maybe we'll see a prequel to this or something. I don't know. We'll see. But 28 Years Later is a movie almost 3 decades into the future after the rage virus got set free in one of those sort of weapons laboratories with the monkeys in the first movie. And a group of survivors on an island, they're basically trying to reacquaint themselves into the world that has evolved and changed because of the rage virus, not only for the rage virus non-zombies and the creatures who are infected by it, but also the people who have lived in this world and how they are to each other. Not only the infected, but the people they meet along the way. I personally enjoyed this film quite a bit. There is definitely a level of artistry, beauty, and some of the sort of dire moments in the film. The movie gets started off right away, so you're not going to have any problems with that. And boy, does it go some places that we don't normally get to see in a horror movie that had the audience cheering. They were like, oh my God. So it definitely has its graphic bits and its graphicness to it. There are some new ways that they treat the infected, but the infected definitely feel very different in this movie than I think they have in the previous movies. And that may make it or break it for some people. Now, I will say that they put their thumbs on the scale on the characters in this movie, which I think is a great idea, because the first movie, to me, has some of the best characters. You just really bond with all of the characters you meet. Some of them win you over. By the end of the movie, you're rooting for them. So that's like very great character work. I think we're leaning more 28 Days Later with this movie in that department. But if it's coming down to raw, infected monsters attacking people, you're going to get your fill of gore and Gru, but they do have long, bigger parts that focus specifically on the character development in this movie with a young boy, his mother, his father, and a bunch of other characters that he meets along the way as he traverses the outer world of the island, a very different yet beautifully dark vision of the future of this world. It's kind of got me twisted a little bit because on one hand, I definitely feel it is better than the sequel of the franchise, but it kind of cuts away from some of the infected scenes that I was hoping to get. Obviously, at the end of the day, I love the character work, but I also want to see my share of the infected making me feel like it's a threat. My favorite, obviously, I've mentioned, is 28 Days Later, so I wanted to see a little bit more of that vibe, but this is an older, decayed world that has changed. A lot of the infected, to me, felt like, they almost kind of felt like cannibals just running around, not necessarily infected in the way that we remember them. There are things that have changed about them that really paints a different picture of them and tells a different story with them in multiple ways that you will see in this movie. They do some pretty wild shit that you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? It definitely is not what I was expecting. I wanted a little bit more of the infected, and that's just my personal taste. I think this movie is going to divide a lot of people because of that. I got more of The Road movie mixed with like something else from the past two movies. While it still beats the second one, like I mentioned, it just pales in some different areas. I really enjoyed it for the most part, but I am really struggling on a score here. This is one of those movies that I am definitely going to need to see again. I don't know that I'm going to necessarily rush out to the theater to see, but it's just such on a fine point that I don't know if I want to give it a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. I wasn't blown away by this movie like I wanted to be. I wanted to be sort of transported back to 28 Days Later and then shown something new and done some new things. So while it does do something new and show me some new things, I didn't get the vibe that I really wanted from that first movie. This is a much more polished film. And obviously, he's learned a lot of stuff along the way for both of them. Things are bound to change. It's been such a long time. There are things about it that they do visually that I thought were really cool with The Infected. There's some things, some lore that they do with The Infected that I really like too. It really kind of adds like a whole new vibe to it. This is definitely a movie that is trying to go franchise again. I'm not spoiling how that is, but definitely this movie's trying to go there. But I think if you want to go see a big budget, well acted, well shot film by Danny Boyle, then you should just go to the theater and see it. Alex Garland wrote it too, so I mean, you got no excuses. It definitely is going to give you enough, but will it satiate every infected viewer that wants to see more infected? Because this is very heavy-handed in sort of what the human experience is than the rage experiences, so to speak. Some of the characters in this movie, though, really kind of threw me off, and the ending is a little abrupt and weird for me. It just did not fit what I was kind of hoping for. Maybe some of you guys are going to feel the same way. Like I said, 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. I'm on the fence. There's no doubt the quality is high, but as far as what I experienced, I'm not sure what I think yet, and I still need to see it again. But that's my initial response and what I feel in my soul. I've been thinking about it for the past 2 days, so I even waited to record this the next day just because I had to sit on it a little bit. Some people are really going to like it. Some people are definitely going to be a little like, man, I really want to root for it because there's some cool stuff in it, but I really don't know how I feel about it. Just try to go out and enjoy it if you can. If you have seen the movie, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. Whether you're going to see it, have seen it, let me know in the comment section down below, because this is one I really want to talk to you guys about. Thank you guys so much for coming by to check out this review. I hope I helped in some small way tell you what this movie is about without telling you damn thing about the story. Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like and the subscribe button. Now, don't forget, be careful. There are some crazy people out there in the world, and it could be 28 years later and you wake up and there's some guy running around half naked with his dong hanging out trying to eat you or rip your head off. But just be careful out there, and as always,
long live the void.